In this, the 30th year of the Encore Award, founded by Lucy Astor to celebrate and to champion second novels by writers. It was my great privilege to be part of the judging panel.
I'm Nikita Lalwani, and I'm one of the judges of the RSL's Encore Award for an outstanding second novel.
I'm Edmund Gordon. I'm one of the judges for this year's Encore Award. There's that familiar idea that everybody has a novel in. Probably not true. Certainly not true that everybody has two novels in them. By focusing on second novels, the Encore cuts through some of the noise and the hype that surrounds first novels.
I think of the Encore Award as being a prize that's full of hope, full of optimism. Its very existence tells us that the idea of a second novel is a thing in and of itself.
I had a quotation from actually a previous winner of the Encore Award, Ali Smith. A quotation just ricocheting through my mind, and if I may, I'll read it now. It runs like this: "And it was always the stories that needed the telling that gave us the rope we could cross any river with. They balanced us high above any crevasse. They made us be natural acrobats. They made us brave. They met us well. They changed us. It was in their nature to." And really, this idea of stories that need to be told and stories that need to be listened to, this ran throughout the books that we read.
The Encore Prize tells us that second novels are to be treasured, to be seen, and the way in which it gives visibility to second novels and presents them to the world means that it's a very special prize.
It's a prize that hopefully gives authors a boost of confidence at an important stage of their career, and that can give readers, I hope, confidence in identifying really brilliant books.
So this is Colm Tobin. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm sorry we all can't be together, but soon. It will change soon. I want to talk about a group of writers who were in a public house in Dublin sometime in the mid-1960s. They were all pretty depressed, bad weather, bad reviews, no money, just bad feeling, bad vibes, bad karma. And they were led by the poet Patrick Kavanagh. It was a Sunday evening. No one was saying much. People were pretty down. Suddenly, out of the blue, Patrick Kavanagh said, "You know, there's nothing wrong with anyone in this company that a shower of fivers wouldn't cure." A shower of fivers being a shower of £5 notes. And the remark, I'm told by someone in the company, suddenly cheered everybody up. They thought, well, that's all that's wrong. That's just money. And but yet, of course, they didn't have it. And the Encore Prize is a very important prize because it gives people, first of all, a shower of fivers. But secondly, it honours something very important, which is that the writing life is not especially glamorous. It's tentative. You do a lot of work without knowing where it's going. It's not like being a painter where you can see the painting, so it needs something else. With a novel, you can't read it in one look. So you're working tentatively, you're erasing, you're adding, you're trying something out. It's dull work, it's daily work with a novel. It could go over, over a year, 2 years, 3 years. And by the end of the 3 years, you think, I need one more thing, I can't know what it is. I think that's especially true if you're writing a second novel, where all the excitement and the sort of glitz around a first novel that's being published suddenly disappears. You're almost on your own. So that this award, I think, is an inspired idea by Lucy Astor. I think it's made a huge difference to a great number of writers. It certainly made a difference to me more than a quarter of a century ago when I won the prize for a second novel. That suddenly, for the first time almost, I was in London and editors and literary people were all around, and suddenly this book that really was I say, tentatively written, a second novel, was being honoured in this way in public. I think it made a big difference to the reception of the book, and it certainly made a big difference to me as I went home with not just the shower fibres, but the idea that the book had been seriously read and seriously considered by people whose judgment I respected. I respected it a lot more, I have to say, when I won than I did before. But in any case, I want to congratulate the winner, and I want to thank Lucy Astor and everyone else who's been involved with the prize for, as I say, this inspired idea. And I think the world pays such an amount of attention to first novels that this idea of the second novel, of the hard one, the one that takes with all the excitement gone, suddenly the plodding idea of doing it every day and realizing that this is going to be your life, the daily business of this. I think the prize is very important. I again want to congratulate the winner, and thank you.
It's been my complete pleasure to be one of the judges on the panel alongside Edmund Gordon and Nikita Lalwani for this year's, the 30th Encore Award for second novel. This was founded by Lucy Astor, and as part of it there's a shortlist of authors with some fantastic novels this year from a range of publishers, which is really great to see. And there's also the prize for £10,000 for the best second novel. And as I say, it's been a real pleasure to read, because more so than ever, I think that literature is providing escapism for people. It's providing a way of engaging in a new sense with the world and with themes and politics through creative expression. And just in the array of work that we've been able to read as a judges panel, it just proves that more than ever, the literary word and the literary world is a vibrant, essential and important place. And it's also my great privilege to say that actually you are the winner of this year's award. I'm sorry to have to pivot to you in this small box, talking to you virtually. But congratulations. We all thought that your novel was in many ways searing indictment, but also a very tender portrait of a country and of people. And as I say, we were all thrilled to be able to read it and to be able to award it this year. So thank you.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm really overcome, and I'm incredibly grateful. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know, I'm lost for words, and that's not just because I've spent all day speaking to my students. I'm not often lost for words, but I am. I'm really grateful. You said it was searing and tender, and to hear you use those words suggests to me that the book has done what I wanted it to do. I mean, it came from a place of extreme anger and extreme hurt, but also it would never have been written if I didn't believe that we could counteract both of those things with tenderness and with feeling and with using language properly at a time when it's ever more important to do that. So I'm really overwhelmed, and I'm really grateful. Thank you.
I mean, the thanks is all mine. And I think especially when Edmund, Nikita and I were reading it, because so much of it is about, you mentioned words and language and how we're able to communicate or miscommunicate with one another, and also scrutiny, whether that's through the media, whether that's through gossip or kind of a kind of hotching zeitgeist and need to be engaged with something without allowing for privacy and for ambiguity and nuance. I wondered if you are an academic, you are a poet. Is there something about the novel form that you felt allowed you in particular to explore those themes? Or do you think it's just a general topic that through writing you explore and you feel drawn to?
It's an odd one. I was drawn to the novel, and I was drawn, as I always have been, to the kind of format of the detective novel. If this book has any genre, it's an attempt to write a metaphysical detective novel. And I like the form of the detective novel because the form of the detective novel is about resolution, but the form of real life is about the opposite. And I wanted to play the things against each other and the way things don't unfold in order. And so the pleasure I got from writing in this way about things that had been, I realized once I started writing, boiling up inside me, about the obvious things like the past is never really the past, and the death of the private and all of this sort of stuff. I realized that the detective form had to be that form because it, in a strange way, it sounds like an odd thing to say, and it might be wrong, it's only just occurred to me, but I used that form because I thought at some level it wouldn't work for the material, but I thought that something in the not working might work, if that makes sense. And in a sense, one's childhood is the ultimate cold case, really. And I began writing the book with a small number of things to say. And then as I was writing it during an increasingly sort of putrefying political climate, I realized that more and more stuff was coming in, and I thought I had to put that stuff in. It has its place. While the concrete was still wet, I had to write about other things. And it took rather a lot out of me, actually, to write that book. When I was thinking about what a second novel is, really, I'm sure all of us would rather just keep writing first novels. Because at some level it's not that they're easier, but the feeling is different. One has less responsibility. One's responsibility is to oneself, just to see whether one can do it. Or maybe to skip straight to a third novel. But no, we have to do the second novel. And this was my chance to put a lot in using a form that I admire, namely detective writing, but only because it wouldn't work.
I think that's marvellous, and as you say, I think that probably is the genre that whoever would make me do this, but if I had to sling it into a category, then it would be into the detective genre, but at the same time thwarting the expectations of that and definitely some of the cliches of it, but you were able to use that format to reinvigorate it. I really felt that. It also had, I noticed in many reviews, and I'm really glad that they also picked up on it, this playing with the form of friendship and colleagues and
yes.
collegiate, that as a theme runs through the novel in so many different ways. And I used the word tender before, but the tenderness between men, as much as the inhumanity that people can foist upon other people and cause cruelty. It's not that you were looking to balance that in any way, but that your novel managed to contain all of that. I think it really is a marvellous feat, and a marvellous literary feat, as well as one within the detective genre. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really grateful.